Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to some more Suzerain to the glorious Republic of Swordland. I am sorry for the missed uploads recently. I just started working and I have been fucking exhausted. Incident at Soul's Mansion. You can get fucked. Good. Construction has started. Let's hope it doesn't go badly. But yeah, I have been so fucking exhausted. Nature preservation protests. Fine. But now it is time to get back to business. Let's see what the Chief Justice, wants. The administration had been working day and night on the overwhelming amount of issues that were facing the country. The department sent several documents which required my signatures so they could start working on the new decisions that were taken. After I signed dozens of them, I closed my eyes to relax for a moment. Another long day. Even though I really wished to leave the palace for the day, Lucian had earlier told me that the Chief Justice wanted to speak with me. We planned to meet in my office in 30 minutes. I waited for him, wondering what subject he would raise. Yeah, this is gonna be a fucking headache, so yeah, sure, let's pour some fucking whiskey. Poured some whiskey for myself and took a sip. It eased my mind a little. Suddenly I heard a knock on the door. It was Lucian. Good evening, sir. Have a seat. He sat on a chair near my desk. Sorry that I couldn't explain the situation to you in detail earlier, sir. The Chief Justice insisted on seeing you this evening. I do not know what he has to say, but it will probably be about the new constitution. He will be coming shortly with Judge Mr. Garazzi. Judge Mr. Two honorifics in the same uh, title followed by the honorific. Weird. To the meeting. We shouldn't take them lightly. They're here to threaten us to stop the reforms. We knew they would react at some point. We should. There were 3 knocks at the door. Lucian checked his watch. He looked rather worried. Livia opened the doors. Chief Justice Orso Hawker and Judge Garaci, whatever, entered the room. Good evening, Mr. President. It's great to see you. Evening. Welcome, Justice Garaci, Chief Justice Wang. Good to see you, gentlemen. It's short and sweet. Good to see you, indeed. Orso gestured at the sofa in the office. May I? Of course, old man. Let's have a seat, gentlemen. We all took our seats on 2 opposite sofas and made ourselves comfortable. Orso glanced at the glass of whiskey. Celebrating something, Mr. President? Forgive would you also like a drink? Or let's be hospitable. No, thank you. Me neither, thank you. I like to stay as conscious and focused as I can. How were your first couple of months, Mr. President? I hope you're faring well. To be honest, it was a rough start. I couldn't imagine, yet I think you're doing a good job so far. Considering all that's happening around us with the shootings near the palace and soldiers on our borders, he let out a deep sigh. It's a troubling time. We appreciate your concerns. So, you probably know why we are here. You're here to stop the new constitution. We're only here to tell you that the Supreme Court does not approve of the attempt to change the Constitution. With all respect, the Constitution needs to be updated, sir. I am sure you are well aware of the public demand and our circumstances. Is that so? I see that you are the one who is not aware of our actual circumstances. You want to make a weaker constitution in the midst of problems from both inside and outside. On the contrary, I want a stronger constitution that will limit the power of the presidency in increase the power of the people. Even if your proposal passes the Assembly, I will make sure it will not pass the Supreme Court. That much is clear. I mean, I know he doesn't care that he hasn't read the proposal. So we'll get to court too, even if you do not cooperate. Good luck with that. Justices of the Supreme Court cannot be bought. Didn't say I was buying them. Lucian gave a mocking look. I'm sure they cannot. Mr. President, you seem to be only partially informed about the current situation. Please let us explain the reasons of our stance. Oh, yes, please explain. We are protecting the Constitution because it works, Mr. President. It is efficient and it gives you the authority to lead the nation with swift decisions. Sutherland has more important problems and threats that we should face right now instead of nitpicking about some paragraphs of the Constitution. We have a potential war within our borders. Orso signaled Heron with his hand to let him speak instead. Mr. President, I know that you are a busy man, so I will make this quick. We all know that Sorge's security forces found stashes of Rumburgian weaponry in the hideouts of Bloodish separatists. K-74s are roaming inside Sordland at this moment. As much as Rumburg poses a direct threat, it is now clear that they are also intervening in our country and weaponizing our minorities against us. It's not unprecedented to think that the Bloods will start their terror again with their new toys. Not to mention the fights that broke out between the left and right wing. After the shooting of Bernard Circus, communists are rising with the support of United Contana. The chaos is imminent for Sordland. Sadly, we don't see the administration taking the necessary precautions. You said you will not focus on military during your term. Under current circumstances, that cannot be tolerated at any cost. Yeah, you weren't elected, cunt, so shut the fuck up. Yeah, shut the fuck up. The court, Mr. Hawker, the court has no jurisdiction over these matters. Aren't we all part of this state, Mr. President? We are all responsible if Sordland fails to overcome these threats. But regardless of that, you are also aware that we, the armed Bloodish separatists, have directed connections with the Workers' Party of Bloodia? I'm not saying that, for fuck's sake. The Workers' Party is a democratic party, and like the militias, they are not the same. They may claim they have no ties to the separatists, but most of their members used to be part of them before they formed the Workers' Party of Bloodia. That doesn't necessarily mean they are still working together. Just pointing that out. They might be, but they might very well be working together, but one thing doesn't lead to the other. But how about the name, Mr. President? It's not the Workers' Party of Sordland, is it? As far as I'm aware, there is no nation called Bloodia around here. What is this all about? The only reason they are not in the Assembly is because the electoral threshold. They have gotten quite big, they are clearly getting outside help, and their connection to the paramilitary Bloodish force cannot be denied. Yeah, and if you let them into the Assembly, and you let them actually have a voice in the democratic process, the military wing will lose influence because it will stop being necessary. That's just basic. It's the lesson that the lesson that humanity keeps not learning. If you try to stomp down an insurgency, it's only gonna create more insurgents. And all of a sudden, the way you beat an insurgency is you fix the problems that caused it in the first place. And so you remove the reason for it to exist. And the violent radicals will lose their support. All of a sudden, the reformists are trying to decrease the electoral threshold so that the Bloodish separatists can be legitimized in the Assembly to achieve their aims of independence. That's too dramatic. Say what you will, Mr. President. I am stating the obvious. Yeah, just get on with it. I have work to do. I wish the only wishes were the bloodish terrorists and Rumberg. The reformists suggested changes would also bring the communists who are backed by United Contana into the assembly. Do you see the pattern yet? I apologize, gentlemen. I'm no conspiracy theorist. This is not a conspiracy theory. Haven't you been briefed by your security team? Maybe you should suspect them as well. For fuck's sake. We should take the necessary measures against communist and bloodish plots as well as increasing our military budget against a possible conflict with Rumberg. And of course, not fall into the traps of the reformists by listening to their demands. They are clearly plotting to weaken the president and our whole administration in order to exploit the situation. Which brings us to some very important information that we have. It's definitely something you need to hear, and it can change absolutely everything. With all due respect, Mr. President, I think this is getting slightly ridiculous. Yeah, nothing's gonna come out of this meeting. You're right, I don't think anything will come out of this meeting. So you don't want to hear about the information that I have? There's no need, Mr. Hawker. This meeting is over. I see. Suit yourself, Mr. President. Play into the hands of Sordland's enemies. There will be... Mr. President clearly doesn't want to talk to us. Let's give him some room before he disrespects the judiciary further. Oh, I'm the one disrespecting the judiciary. Sure. You're right. Orso and Heron both stood up from their seats. Please excuse us, Mr. President. Sorry to have taken up your valuable time. I expect your support for the reforms. Don't make a mistake. Orso laughed sarcastically. But of course. They both left the room. That was not good. They clearly tried to threaten you. I'm not scared of them. I mean, I know what Lucian is capable of. If I said we needed to take care of them, he would make it happen. Orso will be doing whatever it takes to damage you. We need to be careful. There are still many old guard sympathizers in our party. We can't let them divide our party. And he will definitely try. After a short evaluation of the situation on our hands, Lucian left me in the presidential office. It was obvious that the old guards would be my main rivals in the near future. Okay, but everything is going fine. It's fine. It's fine. We haven't gotten killed yet. Haven't done anything corrupt. It's fine. Young swords and peep flags burned. Good. Bloodish resistance in sanctuaries. Garble reports lack of hospitals. Recession hits farmers again. Legislative debate on the repeal of the EPA. Communist books burned in Boren. Barbecue with friends. Let's spend some quality time with our son. It was a Saturday afternoon, my first break from work in what felt like years, and the weather couldn't have been more perfect. Trying to keep my mind off the upheaval sparked by the circus assassination, I lit the backyard grill. Monica and Diana were out shopping for craft supplies, and I'd given the staff the day off. It was just myself and Frank at home. I wasn't sure how he felt about me at the moment, but I did know how he felt about barbecue ribs. Our cook had left some marinating in the refrigerator. Sure enough, as soon as Frank glimpsed the grill and meat, he stepped outside to join me. Well, look who's finally out of his room. Now, it's time to spend some quality time with your old man, have you? Sure, if you can spare a few minutes of your busy schedule. Okay, probably deserve that. I'm sorry, come on. Let's not be a cunt. I'm sorry, I know I haven't been around very often lately, but I'm happy to see you. It's okay, I know you've got the most stressful job in the country, and you've got to feed your family on top of it all. We both chuckled. I turned to tend to the fire. Here, let me try. He grabbed the fan and started quickly waving it over the coals. The fire roared to life. He turned to look at me with a grin on his face, as if he was expecting praise. Don't act like you've done something special. Not bad, son, not bad. Uh, let's not be cunts to Frank. Thank you, sir. It is in our utmost interest to fulfill our duties with precision. The grilling shall commence in exactly 1 minute and 32 seconds. That was a spot-on impersonation of Lucian. We looked at each other for a second, then burst out laughing. I realized my throat was parched. There was a six-pack of beer in the kitchen. No, I'm not. He's 16. Back in my day, the legal drinking age was 16, so sure, he can get one beer. One. Why don't you bring us a couple of beers? He looked at me in disbelief. You mean I can? One told me. One. And not a word of this to your mother. He stopped himself quickly, ran inside, and returned with 2 beers. We cracked them open, clinked the bottles, and gazed out at the city skyline. For a moment, my thought flashed back to my childhood and my relationship with my own father. My father was a poor man who struggled to provide for us in his meager income. He put me to work on the farm long before I was Frank's age, and even then, we couldn't always make ends meet, yet we were always close as a family. Now that I was the president, I knew Frank would never face the same hardships I had. I couldn't deny that I felt a bit jealous. Dad, can I ask you something? We're family, you can ask anything. It's just, I feel like there's so much you've been hiding from me about your past and what was going on right now. Like at dinner that night after the ball, you told me everything was under control, but it wasn't, was it? I know what happened in the 20s. We learned all about it in school. I kinda doubt that. Now with the protests and the riots, it's going to be the same thing? Is there going to be a civil war in Swordland? I'll never let that happen. Good. But what was it like back then? Uncle Peter said the two of you went through a lot. I'm not a kid anymore, you can tell me. Before I could gather my thoughts, the familiar images started flashing before my eyes. Images of soldiers advancing towards me and my friends, weapons drawn, people I knew, friends and neighbors being dragged through the street and murdered in alleyways. And that little girl's face. Those were dark times. Seems like it. Sure, let's educate our son, because I have a sneaky suspicion the school hasn't. You're nearly a grown man, let's talk about it. Frank leaned forward in his chair, his eyes wide. Tell Frank about the coup of 27. It's time to tell him about the coup of 1927. I was barely older than you are now. Studying economics at Latchaving Business School, I was a freshman, excited and young. I just left the classroom. To go back as I heard the sounds of multiple vehicles approaching the campus gates. As they got closer, I realized they were military camouflage trucks and tanks carrying hundreds of soldiers. Same soldiers that were supposed to protect Swordland's citizens pointed their guns at us. They immediately took control of the facilities. One of my friends asked what was going on and was arrested immediately. More people got angry and gathered in protest. Frank kept listening and a shocked look on his face. I mean, he needs to understand the full reality. That's probably not something that you talk about very often, but it is definitely something that you need to talk about at least once. I was there with the protesters as they declared martial law. We marched towards them, they threatened to use force, but we stood our ground. So they started beating anyone they saw, including me. The physical wounds took a few weeks to heal, but the mental scars have stayed with me to this day. I was lucky. Still one of the lucky ones. Some of my friends were shot, many more were arrested. Can't forget the screams to this day. Frank leaned back in his chair, his shoulders slumped heavily. Good, let's tell him about the Civil War. It's time to tell him about the Civil War. It was right after I met your mother. We had both joined the Students' Council to push for change after the coup of 27. Eventually I became convinced I wasn't doing enough, so I joined the Red Youth. Then one night it happened. Two different factions in the army, one of them led by fascist General Lutheran and the other by socialist General Ricard, started fighting against each other. It was a bloodbath. Nowhere was safe. Frank shifted in his seat, visibly uncomfortable. So we organized a protest. One day in support of Ricard. In our minds, he was the better of the two and a true socialist. Let's tell him everything. Pause for a moment before continuing. It was horrible. They were waiting for us. Soldiers started beating and shooting at everyone, and plowing their tanks into the crowd amid the chaos. There was this girl. Never forgot her face. I tried to save her, but I couldn't reach her in time. Frank's face had grown pale. He turned his eyes away from me. That's enough for today. It's okay. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked you about it. I know I don't understand how easy my life is sometimes. One more thing though, I know that you joined the Red Youth back then. Do you mind if I ask why? The communist revolution for Sutherland was and still is the only way. Frank raised his eyebrows, his curiosity still not satisfied, but sensing my reluctance to go on, he simply nodded. Sorry for bombarding you with questions. I know I complain sometimes, but my problems are nothing compared to what you went through. I'm here to listen to them, no matter what they are. Before Frank could say anything else, I heard the front door unlock. Diana and Monica's voice and the sounds of rustling shopping bags filled the house. Alright, I'll be upstairs until dinner. Frank went in and dashed upstairs. I took a long sip of my beer, looking at the city and the now setting sun. I hoped that talking to Frank about my past had been the right decision. Part of me felt as if some sort of burden had been lifted. But I had the same nightmares again that night. Well, it's definitely not something that's easy to talk about, but something that needs to be talked about. Prisoners riot in Antel Rock Prison. We're on industrial output concerns. USP report on reforms. Okay, foreign policy. NATO pledges financial and military aid to Agnolia. Rizzi advocates for energy partnership. Let's go to Narbel. I was traveling to the snow-covered city of Narbel in the Nargis region of the Rural Developments Forum organized by the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education. The mountain city of Narbel had gritty tones to it. It was mostly regarded as one of the poorer cities in Sutherland. Its people were hardy and wary. Even after the discovery of natural resources in the area, years of neglect by the central government were apparent on the buildings and the general infrastructure. Natural resources, namely gas and oil, were now under the control of Gasson, which elevated the corporation to a place of power. My task in this forum was mainly symbolic, fake smiles and handshakes with oil barons, meeting with local politicians, but most importantly of all, making sure that Narbel did not feel like it was forgotten by the government. The scenery so far, however, was a reflection of Narbel's neglect. Main roads to the city were not maintained well. There were many bumps and empty, discolored spots in the asphalt. Navigating and swerving to avoid the inconveniences, our motorcade finally started nearing the city. As if my discomfort from the bumpy ride was apparent to him, Serge rolled down the partition window. We will be arriving at Hotel West in a few minutes, sir. Thank you for letting me know. Let's not be rude to Serge. Serge is our friend. Any time, it is my duty. After a moment, Serge starting to smile under his mustache. How is life, Serge? Sir, I just want to say, it has been great these last 2 months. As you know, my wife Susan recently gave birth to our son, sir, and now my daughter just started a very good high school in Holsword. Well, get ready because life is about to become a lot busier. Oh, I know, sir. It already is very busy. My daughter is a handful. Thankfully, my work time allows me to spend some time. My work times allow me to spend some time with my family, except for these distant trips. I'm very lucky to have this job. How are your children, sir, if I may ask? Diana's as lively as ever, but Frank seems to be a little distant. Come on, Serge is our friend. We can trust Serge. Serge is always loyal. That's very normal, sir. He is at that age. All of us went through a rebellious phase. He glanced toward the back. I had some troubles communicating with Erica as she grew up, but we found a common ground by going to plays. You are a good father, Serge. I try my best, sir. I was unlucky. I never had a connection with my father. He was absent from my life, and I just can't have the same situation with my children. Being a president meant that I had to be far away from home most of the time. I wonder if Frank also thought of me as an absent father figure. Could that be the reason behind his attitude? Serge continued after a moment of silence. Have I told you, sir? We named my son George. Doctor said he is very healthy, and thankfully, so is my wife. Oh, that's good. I hope the hospital had a good service. Probably not, but normally we would have been treated in one of the suburban hospitals, but thanks to the special coverage of the presidential staff, we were transferred to Emerald State Hospital. Yeah, we need to increase the quality of the services for all. That sounds like a tough issue to solve, Sir sighed. I've already started thinking about our university education, especially Erica. I want to send her to a good private school, but with the current state of the economy, it's going to be hard for us. I'm gonna put Serge's kids through college. He he fucking deserves it. Serge is the best. You know what? I can support the education of your children. Mr. President, there is no way I can. With one look from me, Serge cut his sentence short and nodded at me after removing his hat. Mr. President, I don't know how I can ever repay you for this. Thank you so much. I hope you return the favor by helping someone in need someday, just like I did. I will, sir, of course. I won't forget your generosity, sir. Just pay it forward. The car hit a major pothole and a bump which lifted us in our seats for a second. Well, wasn't my personal wealth supposed to go down by one? It's unacceptable. We need to invest in infrastructure here. I agree, sir. Still need to drive back tomorrow unless you use one of those new helicopters. Motorcade began approaching the hotel. The Hotel West was supposedly the best hotel in Narbel. The large 25-story main building was undoubtedly one of the taller and more expensive buildings in the city. It towered over the nearby slums and had been a target for protests when it was first built. A crowd was gathered in front of the hotel with the welcoming committee at its center. As we approached the red-carpeted entrance, I could see the mayor of Narbel and his top aides. Serge got out of the car and opened the door. He bowed his head respectfully and gestured towards the entrance. See you later, Serge. Thank you, sir. Likewise. As soon as I left the vehicle, the fresh air of Narbel filled my lungs. Almost immediately, everyone present in the crowd flocked over to me with an excessive display of courtesy, smiles and handshakes while I donned the mask of a politician. Mask that I was very used to. But, okay, now at the quiz. But that mask will have to stay on until next episode. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I have been Pope. Please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.